Hello everyone, this is Babamots. Welcome to some more Homeworlds commentary. This is from the 2024 Great Homeworlds Tournament. The finals. This is Simon versus or YaiHar versus Simon. We just did the other way around where Simon went first. And YaiHar won that first game. Let's see what happens here. We've got YaiHar taking the blue-yellow large Gemini, which is typical. Simon taking the blue-red banker. Um, so this is interesting. That makes it a microverse. The homeworlds are connected to each other. They can move directly into one another's homeworlds. And Simon has taken a red star and no yellow. So in just a moment, after YaiHar has built another ship, YaiHar can move a ship directly into Simon's home, which Simon can then. Okay, well, so let's get these ships built and then let's talk about it. Okay, so if YaiHar moves, let's say they're large into Simon's home, then Simon can capture it, of course, but then YaiHar moves in their G1 and can make it a draw. So YaiHar could force a draw right here. I think YaiHar is more likely to get the win if they play on. So I think that's not actually to YaiHar's advantage, but YaiHar has got that option. So that's one of the troubles with making a microverse, and especially if you're going second and have a red star, you're inviting shenanigans. Um, I I don't think for tournament strategy that's actually a good idea, but we'll see. They're actually doing it. No, change their mind. Okay, yeah, it would the YaiHar would be forcing Simon into a draw, because I don't think Simon has any other um, recourse than just to capture. And YaiHar then, of course, would be down two large ships and wouldn't want the game to go any longer. Yeah, but YaiHar, I think, making the right choice. Play on and probably get the win. Oh, I wonder if this happened at the same time as the other time jokers we saw that Simon used. So Simon going on vacation or something, taking a few days off. Okay, neither. This is like the previous game too. I think this one was actually played first, but I didn't know that, so I just picked randomly. Um, both players passing up the slight size advantage potentially offered by pursuing blue first. Um, as this, in fact, looks a lot like the previous game, except that it's a microverse instead of a small universe. Um, so I get what I was working up to saying. I think Simon. Now that I didn't think about it so much last game, but Simon probably doesn't want to pursue blue because if you pursue blue and your opponent does too, then since Simon has a red star instead of yellow, Simon is kind of stuck on their home world, and it's harder for them to spread out and get the larger sizes until they trade one of those for yellow, and that slows them down in the blue game. YaiHar, I think, doesn't want to go after the blue. This has sort of been YaiHar's thing. Well, I don't know if it's YaiHar's thing anymore, but the way that the meta is shifting is that if you go for a yellow star and your opponent takes red, you just slam the red economy as hard as you can. I've discussed this, complained about it, and worried about it on the air before, I think. Yeah, so YaiHar is doing the usual thing, going hard after the reds. Oh, like this looks like a lot like the previous game I casted, where Simon looks like they're trying to get those R3s out of the bank. Oh, it didn't work last time. But I think this is the last time, and oh no, Simon's going after those little yellows. Um, yeah, YaiHar trading in the red for a green so they can build more R3. Simon, it makes me feel like Simon maybe has been a little stubborn in sticking to the red stars, which I mean I have tried to do as well, but um, seeing that this 2 games in a row against the same person in the finals, and they're turning out almost the same, where YaiHar gets an enormous advantage like this. And it's just not working out all that great. So, unlike the previous game, YaiHar here can safely trade for a Y3 because Simon's large colonies are not connected to YaiHar's home. So in the previous game, in a situation like this, Simon could have sacrificed Y2 to move 2 little yellows into YaiHar's home, knocked out a star and one of their large ships. Things aren't looking quite well. It's still pretty bad for Simon because YaiHar's dominating the reds, but at least YaiHar would be down a star. And yeah, this happened last time too. Simon spread out all the little yellows, discovered all the R3s, but in this case has not only a medium ship, but a ship at home where they can build more. So this is actually, I think, looking better for Simon than the previous game, even though it's not great. Simon can, in fact, do a shopping spree, clean out the yellow economy. YaiHar could threaten any of these colonies. They could move in an R2. They could have moved the Y3 there if they wanted to cause trouble. But yeah, I think YaiHar wants to be prepared to build larger yellow ships if Simon gives them the opportunity. Simon wants the shopping spree. Okay. Building, it's interesting, the extra medium at home rather than in a colony. I mean, normally I'd be very scared about having 3 of the same color at home and nothing else, but of course YaiHar's only yellow ship isn't in a connected system, so that's not so bad. YaiHar pushing the yellow into the more vulnerable colony, more ships to capture, harder to run away. Simon's got the choice to overpopulate, but I think under the circumstances... actually, that seems... well, yeah, okay. I was gonna say it doesn't seem so bad for Simon to overpopulate to knock out YaiHar's additional large. The trouble being Simon would lose, 3 ships, and YaiHar can just rebuild the R3 once it goes back into the bank. Yeah, so Simon, I think, making the better call, I think, trading for G3. It's yeah, I guess that's okay. Simon's so deeply on the back foot that it's hard to uh, it's hard to think about for too long. Okay, so YaiHar does take the time to capture one of those guys now. Simon gonna move in for the overpopulation. YaiHar just rebuilds. Then Simon is so... yeah, it's pretty hopeless, I'm afraid. Yeah, YaiHar can still trade for those yellows. Simon's at least trying to cut off the R3s still, but we've had 2 games in a row where we've had this situation twice where yeah, little guys trying to hold the large ships out of YaiHar's reach isn't gonna work when YaiHar's got so much more material. YaiHar's got, a few good options here. Gonna work on building more yellow. Okay, Simon. Oh, is this the exact same thing? It is. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize this was a perfect cycle. I thought something else had changed. Oh, YaiHar didn't sacrifice a red for the capture or anything. No, okay, yeah. So, let the record show this exact same position has occurred 2 times, and so has this one. Yeah, Simon, I think should be very happy with the draw. YaiHar's changing things up just a little bit by invading a colony that doesn't have the Y2 in it. Simon trading out for green. YaiHar capturing, building some green. Okay, this is a little different. Not yeah, if YaiHar doesn't do something, Simon I think should build that Y3. Okay, sacrificing the Y1, that puts a Y1 in the bank that would have to build in order to get larger yellows, and of course also discovering the Y3 star. So this is going a little different from last time. Last time, no, okay, so I had it, I had it locked in my memory that there was a position where Simon passed up the opportunity to sacrifice a G1 to build a Y3, and I thought Simon was crazy until I realized that they would have lost pretty quickly. So we didn't quite get to that point. Simon finally eyeing the blues. YaiHar taking a green. Simon going for that last yellow. No, gonna take the last small blue. Okay, so if YaiHar doesn't trade, I'm envisioning Simon spreads out the blues and starts getting to, well, it starts getting to build mediums. YaiHar could get a medium blue now, but that would put a red back in the bank, and I think Simon would be very happy to sacrifice blue to trade for a medium red out here. Simon would like to have a red ship. Just Simon doesn't really have a safe place to put a red. All of Simon's colonies have red stars, and of course Simon only has one large ship, so they can't defend that a red ship any place but their home all that well anyhow. Yep, it's looking not great. Okay, YaiHar puts that large red back in the bank by moving away from the star, which I think is the right play. Something like that. So that's, and this is a pattern I think new players should understand. In this case, Simon can just rediscover that R3, but that's not going to happen every time. YaiHar's got the bigger ships, and so Simon's efforts to occupy the large ships YaiHar wants to build are gonna those efforts by Simon to occupy the stars are gonna be frustrating because YaiHar can just roll in with a bigger ship, drive Simon off of that star. YaiHar moves away, and if a couple of other things change in the meantime, then Simon might not be in a good position to rediscover that star. Okay, in this case, yeah, Simon can just move a medium there. That's not so bad. YaiHar brings in more green, yellow. Okay, yeah, sticking with the yellow. Um, yeah, I don't see anything very good for Simon right now. Maybe if they move it out to a blue out to a G3 star, that this is a really crippling position. It's being suffocated. Simon hasn't got the space. I keep thinking about chess and how this is kind of the equivalent of your opponent's got a pawn structure that's intruding too far into your territory, and you can't move around properly. Simon, okay, moving that little blue to the best fortified colony that they've got. YaiHar can still move the Y3 into formal hut, and Simon could overpopulate it, but I think that overpopulation is to YaiHar's advantage. Actually, not so much, because if the yellows on formal hut get overpopulated, there's still a B1 there. It would keep the R3 from going into the bank and letting YaiHar build it. Okay. So here's an interesting decision point. YaiHar thinking, all right, maybe I need to get this B2. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, yep. YaiHar has not missed the big picture here. Yeah, I often in my own games and in commentaries get so focused on the economic battle and the positioning that I forget to watch for when a player has the win. And I think YaiHar does, and I think YaiHar's noticed it. Um, so moving out an R1 in now, Simon will assume the natural thing that Simon captures this. YaiHar sacrifices Y3 to move two reds from their home into Simon's home and move in the G3. That's a red overpopulation with those four pieces. And Simon has no access to red whatsoever, whereas YaiHar still has this R2. So Simon's got a turn to do something. Maybe they can come up with something productive to do, but I don't think so. After which YaiHar sacrifices this R2 to capture Simon's mothership and, you know, either the Y2 or maybe if at this point Simon has traded their B1 for red, then YaiHar captures that instead. Simon could also trade, one of the ships in Formal Hut for red, which might be, well, no, not really any more promising because uh, YaiHar still has got too much. Or Simon could try to build green in order to overpopulate all the greens. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I think this is going to be the end. Oh, YaiHar took it back, sacrificing the Y1 to invade the colony. I think this invasion works. I think this is good. If it doesn't work, if Simon doesn't do it, then I think it's got to be because Simon is seeing something that I don't. Huh. Okay. Or sorry, that YaiHar's seeing something I don't. I I'm pretty darn confident that YaiHar had the victory here, but I could be wrong. And in any case, if there's any doubt in your mind, if you're already ahead like this, the tendency of the game is going to be for you to get more ahead. So don't be too afraid of the game going longer. YaiHar's not in any immediate danger. Yeah, not for a while anyway. Yeah, Simon is making progress in blues, and they've already got a fair amount of yellow. So, and those are the colors of YaiHar's stars. So YaiHar shouldn't be too complacent. But right now, it's looking like the medium to long play out of this game is going to be to a victory for YaiHar. So YaiHar doesn't need to try to work too hard to shorten the game. Okay, just invading a colony, slow playing it. Simon runs away, and YaiHar puts the R3 back in the bank again. Would really like to build that. Simon says, no, I don't want you to build that. I'm keeping that out of the bank. Now, YaiHar building more green. So if Simon had a large ship someplace, especially connected to YaiHar's home, this is a situation where, they could sacrifice a Y2, move the green into YaiHar's home, overpopulate, and then move in the large to do some capturing and, win. But Simon hasn't been able to get a second large ship, and this is, again, I'm just reminding me that, having a large ship that doesn't have to babysit your home can be really, really powerful. Simon getting another blue. It's a medium this time. And Simon is inching, squinching closer to having enough to overpopulate YaiHar's stars. Um, Oh, and I it's an unusual game when a player just gets no red ships at all and yet manages to survive for this long. Sorry, it's morning and I'm tired. Um, so I tend to just assume, when I'm not thinking hard enough, that oh yeah, if Simon were to come into YaiHar's home with a large ship, when YaiHar didn't have a large ship, then Simon could just start capturing stuff. Simon doesn't have any red anywhere, and YaiHar doesn't have a red star. So no, Simon cannot move into YaiHar's home and start capturing. Oh, YaiHar was thinking about taking advantage of that and just saying, "I don't need a mothership. I don't need a large guarding my home because Simon's never going to get never going to get a red." Um, but probably playing it a little safer, leaving the G3 at home and putting the G1 on a G2 star. That brings that G3 closer to being available. Simon can build the G2, but then YaiHar can build a G3. And this is the funniness about greens is that you need more green than any other color in order to do a successful shopping spree. YaiHar's got enough green for it. YaiHar can sacrifice the G3, build the G2, say out in the colony, and then two G3s at home. Simon could overpopulate them, but then would lose pretty soon thereafter, I think, because Simon's not going to get another large ship. Simon taking that G3 out of the bank. This is about as many star names as I've ever seen. I'm not sure I've ever seen a game go all the way out to oh cool. I don't think I've actually got 26. I don't think there's a star name for every. So they're using the real world star names here. And I know there's a Homeworlds, what do they call it? Homeworlds Theater video where John and Andy use oh cool, but I think they may have been going backwards in the alphabet that time. Let's see if they make it all the way out to Zostra or whatever the Z is. Okay. G2 for B2 in the home world. Yeah, okay, so YaiHar, a little spooky to have a ship matching a star, but Simon doesn't have two blues connected, so it's not too bad. Simon building one of those greens. YaiHar putting the blue somewhere much safer. I think that's a good move. Ooh. I don't like that build. I think YaiHar will take that back. Yeah, that makes Izar a pretty healthy colony. Um, and it's better defended now. Previously, well, no, keep forgetting Simon. Simon's got no red, so a small ship of YaiHar's is perfectly safe. Okay, Simon using another time joker, and then spreading out the greens, sacrificing the G2 for two blue builds. Okay, Simon getting a large ship. Getting a large mother flagship. That's nice. Of course, YaiHar can get another one as well. But that might be a step up for Simon overall. So the roads to victory that I'm seeing here, YaiHar could. So it's gonna be Simon's turn. Um, YaiHar could go for a. YaiHar doesn't have enough blue to knock out Simon's blue star unless Simon still has a blue ship there, which Simon might try to move out soon. YaiHar could try to do one of these tricks where they move in the large blue first, like YaiHar could sacrifice the Y3, move in the blue 2, and move the B2 somewhere connected like Hadar, where it could move in on their next turn. Simon would be forced to capture the B3, and then YaiHar moves in the B2 to knock out Simon's blue star. But that's a lot of material, and it's hard or impossible to slow push a red star. And YaiHar wouldn't have any of the yellow left. So I don't think YaiHar's route to star demolition victory is clear here. On the other hand, YaiHar has got red, and Simon only has the red star for defense. YaiHar, I think, is much closer. Very, very close, in fact, to victory by just coming in with too many large ships for Simon to capture at once. In fact, right here, if Simon does something pretty benign, YaiHar sacrifices Y3, YaiHar moves in the G3 and then moves the B3 once, twice into Simon's home. Simon can capture one of those guys, but the usual thing, Simon then sacrifices R2 to capture back the large ship that they just lost and Simon's mothership, and YaiHar wins pretty soon thereafter. So YaiHar is really close to winning. Simon, if Simon manages to defend that somehow, I don't see it though. Simon, maybe if they brought back a blue, then they could be prepared to overpopulate both the green. No, I think they'd need. I don't think Simon can prepare a defense to overpopulate both the green and blue that could be coming in for them on the next turn. Yeah, I think this is it. That's the best Simon could find. And YaiHar very seldom missing opportunities to win. Oh. YaiHar thinking at least about the other path I was suggesting, the star demolition route, moving in the B3, but I don't think that's as sure as just sacrificing to bring in two larges. Really, YaiHar slow playing this again. I know YaiHar watches sometimes. If you want to explain what's up here, because I don't see it. If Simon's got a way out of that double invasion, I absolutely do not see it. So instead, YaiHar just threatening the ship at the R3 again. Simon, oh, sacrificing, maybe. Trying to get some play out of this. So it's a really interesting idea. So this is, sorry, I'm feeling slightly philosophical. The yellow sacrifices, especially in Homeworlds, make Homeworlds a little like monster chess, where you can take more than one turn in a row. And so Simon sacrificing the Y2, I love this idea, but I don't think it's quite a good one. Simon's trying to create a threat in YaiHar's home and create a threat here in Altair, where Simon would be able to capture this R2. But I don't think this works out if Simon or YaiHar could sacrifice the Y1 to escape with the R2. They could just capture this G2, and losing the R2 is not all that big of a deal. I don't know. Let's see if Simon commits. I don't feel like this is an enormous threat. And I think it's definitely too early for Simon to be trying to knock out the stars. Too much of Simon's army is Navy, Armada, is situated at large stars that aren't connected to YaiHar's home. Simon doesn't have enough yellow power to get all of these ships into YaiHar's home quickly enough while still having enough yellow to knock out the yellow star. Mm-mm. Well, but on the other hand, I think YaiHar's got to make a really tough choice here. Do I capture the guy who's trying to knock out my blue star, or do I run away with my red so that Simon doesn't have any red in hand? YaiHar sacrifices Y3, okay, to move 1, 2, 3 times. Oh, at this point, YaiHar had two large. Yeah, they. Where was that other? I can't remember exactly where things were, but they ran away with the red and invaded with the two larges, which I think they should have done something like this a while ago. But here we are. So okay, yeah, Simon. I think Simon might still have a little traction here. No. Okay. So I was gonna say Simon can trade for an R3. Yeah, and so if YaiHar just does the well, yeah. Oh gosh, is this for real? No, 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 no. Okay. Ooh, gosh. Um, I had to think about some future possibilities here. Okay, Simon commits to that. So this is kind of cool. So YaiHar is in check. If um if YaiHar doesn't if YaiHar were to pass, then Simon could sacrifice R3 to capture both of these guys and win. Um, and if YaiHar just does the most obvious thing, which is to either capture Simon's mothership or even sacrifice R2 to capture two ships in Simon's home, that doesn't fix the problem that Simon sacrifices to capture these two guys. Simon would still have one ship left at home. So YaiHar's got to sacrifice the R2 to capture the invader and capture Simon's mothership so that Simon can't capture the invaders. Okay, that took a little bit of thought to work that out, but I don't think YaiHar is going to be baffled here. Yeah, but YaiHar, it's good on Simon. Found a little bit of a puzzle. YaiHar only had one move to victory there. That was a little narrow. Um, yeah, but that is definitely the end. Yeah, and Simon concedes. Okay. Um, I think my the lessons I would take from there are red stars are pretty dicey to begin with, and worse in a microverse. And I think Simon could have done a better job of learning from. I think this was the first game they played, and the other one that I cast was the second. But they looked so much alike that in either direction, I think Simon could do a better job of learning from what happened in the previous game. Getting behind by so far, I think Simon needed to try something different to make that work. Maybe even uh, going with the modern style of at least a yellow, if not a Gemini for your homeworld. Okay, so that's another YaiHar victory. So the YaiHar is 4 points now. YaiHar won all of their games in the final. So now it's just a question of when Simon and Fiendmonger play again, can Simon secure the uncontested second place, or does Fiendmonger win and make it a draw for second? Um, the rules do not specifically say for the tournament whether the players need to have some kind of tiebreaker to break a second place tie. If we'd had a tie for first place, then I would have told them, yeah, let's have a playoff and break the first place tie. But second place tie, if the players don't want to break that, then I'm okay with it. Um, yeah, thanks to the players for participating. I've really enjoyed watching these games, and I hope you've enjoyed watching them too.